Our Old World surface treatment is not a distressing as much as it's an aging process that invigorates our furniture and creates facets that normally take 100 years to create. You can order Old World in 3 different levels: A, B, or C. A level, we have to build the piece of furniture in its entirety, and then we take it to the aging process where we will hand plane the entire surface of the product, creating a really nice, uneven, aged look. After doing the hand planing, the artist that's doing the aging will be using some standard tools like a nice razor knife to create some fake cracks in the wood. And they actually look at the wood and say, okay, where do I want this to be and where would it naturally be if there was a crack in the wood? So then they also use an ice pick to create wormholes, again, where it would kind of naturally be. Our new wood has all gone through our kiln drying process, which will kill off any bug eggs that are left in the wood, unlike the old wood. We create other aging things like rounding the edges, putting some dents and dings in it here and there. The rock adds a number of unique textures. They look at the piece of wood and they say, okay, what would have happened to this piece of wood over 100 years while, traveling from one place to another, maybe getting beat around a little bit. So the natural edges would be worn off. Areas where, would just be natural wear and tear is where they focus on. After spending a lot of time creating all that unique texture, we now have to spend a lot more time sanding it all so that it's smooth to the touch as well as looks good to the eye. Our rule here is that it just cannot snag a cloth or cause a splinter or anything like that. Probably at least half the time that they spend on this piece of furniture in this aging process is sanding all of the different texture that we put into it while maintaining the unevenness and such that really creates that aging look. So then level B, Old World, is a little bit more subtle than A, but really the only difference between A and B is the fact that we don't hand plane level B. So the hand planing in level A is really a big part of that level A heavy aging that we give to the piece of furniture. So if you want level B, we will skip the hand planing part. We will still do all of the wormholes, the cracks, the worn edges, all the sanding that goes into a level A. But the surface itself will not be altered. So it'll be a flat surface, not uneven like it would be with the level A. Not near as much tear outs around the edges or anything like that either. So level B is that a little bit more subtle aging or distressing. Level C, Old World, is really not a lot of distressing at all. It's simply a little bit of the easing of the edges, used most of the time with paints like the oatmeal or one of those colors, so that it's got a rub-through effect. So anywhere that you would rub through and you would see a different color underneath a paint, that would be level C. Now sometimes we do have people who want level C on a piece of furniture, even though it won't be painted. So what ends up happening is that you have all of your edges, your corners, everything is knocked off a bit more, so that it's a little softer look, I guess, on a piece of furniture if you're not getting rub through. So level C is typically used when you're going to do rub-throughs. Each of the 3 levels of Old World have different upcharges that you will need to add to the main part. So when you're adding upchargers, you're adding different options. You only have to add the percentage that it's going to take, either a stain color or an Old World treatment or whatever. You only have to add it to the base price of the piece of furniture. So you don't have to add all the other options together and then add the percentage to that. You get to order Old World aging process on any of our woods using any of our colors now. A lot of people like to use Character Cherry with the Old World because of the knots and things that come with Character Cherry. Is just a natural for an aging process like Old World. You don't have to. I've seen a lot of people doing like red oak. We've seen soft maple. So we're doing a lot of different Old World treatments on different woods and different colors now. So the old world samples that you look at on the design center is two different steps there now. So you have your old world level. Let's say you're going to do a level A. So you need to add the percentage for level A, and then you need to add whatever color you're choosing. So a lot of the more difficult colors are 10% extra, and some of the paint colors are 5% extra, and then there's quite a few colors no extra. So just pay attention that everything is marked on the back of the sample on what the upcharge is. So just make sure you add the right percentage to the base price of the piece of furniture. The last thing to consider when ordering Old World finish is the option that we offer where you can wax and buff it. This is a process that really the only advantage to doing the waxing and buffing is that it just makes the finish even more buttery. So because our finish is quite buttery already, and by buttery I mean just the feel of the finish, the waxing and buffing option is not as critical as it might be to some other companies, but we do offer it. And I just want to be clear, though, that waxing and buffing the finish, it doesn't add anything as far as making the finish better. It does add 5% to the cost, and it's not available on some of the wire brush or rough sawn or anything like that. So it's just meant to make it feel even more aged.